After 25 years at sea, I've seen it all. The laughter, the luxury, the sunsets that can make you forget the world, and the darker sides most passengers never even imagine. The kind of things that make you realize not every cruise line deserves your trust. When you've spent decades behind the bridge, you learn one simple truth. What happens below deck often tells a very different story than what's printed in glossy brochures. And today, I'm ranking every major cruise line, from the ones I'd never stepped foot on again, to the few that truly earned my respect. Because this list isn't built on advertisements or influencer deals. It's built on real cruise stories, passenger experiences, and things I've personally witnessed. Storms, chaos, and all. And trust me, number one will surprise you. The cruise industry loves to call itself a floating paradise. But behind that paradise, things can get complicated. I've seen crew members working 18-hour shifts without rest, maintenance shortcuts that would make any captain lose sleep, hidden costs that turn a dream vacation into a financial storm. Some ships hide their flaws behind smiles and slogans, but not all smiles are genuine. Fires, overboards, sanitation failures, each one left a mark on this industry. So, before you book your next voyage, listen closely, because we're starting from the bottom. The cruise lines I'd never sail again. The worst cruise lines, ranked 10 to 7. After 25 years on the bridge, I've learned something every new sailor eventually discovers. Not every ship deserves to sail. Some are driven by passion and pride, others by pure profit. So let's start from the bottom. These are the cruise lines I'd never recommend to anyone. Not because of rumors, but because of what I've seen with my own eyes, and what crew whisper when the passengers are asleep. Margaritaville at Sea. Margaritaville at Sea, the so-called booze cruise. Just one ship, the Margaritaville Paradise, sailing short 2- or 3-night itineraries from Palm Beach to the Bahamas. Sounds fun, right? Drinks, music, cheap tickets, a quick escape from reality. But here's what most people don't realize. When a ticket costs less than a night at a budget motel, corners are being cut somewhere. I once spoke with a passenger who said, "The best part of my cruise was getting off." They weren't joking. Cabins with flickering lights, overflowing drains, broken elevators. Crew stretched thin, one housekeeper handling 20 cabins alone. And safety, let's just say drills are treated more like checkboxes than lifelines. One night, during a sudden power flicker, the emergency lights failed for almost 2 minutes. Passengers laughed it off, thinking it was part of the show. But the crew didn't. You could see the fear in their eyes. Margaritaville markets island vibes, but inside it often feels like survival mode. Cheap cruising might sound cheerful, but at sea, cheap usually means risky. Because when you're 1,000 miles from shore, you can't call customer service. You can only hope the ship floats steady till morning. Lesson: the ocean has no sympathy for budget mistakes. Cheap isn't cheerful at sea. Costa Cruises. Costa Cruises. Once the pride of Italy. Romantic voyages, Mediterranean charm, elegant design. But every captain remembers January 13th, 2012. The night the Costa Concordia struck rocks off Isola di Giglio and capsized. 32 souls lost. For those of us at sea, that night changed everything. Even after more than a decade, the shadow of the Concordia tragedy still lingers. Costa rebranded, retrained, repainted, but reputation doesn't wash away that easily. I've spoken to former officers who said the company became obsessed with moving on, sometimes faster than they should have. Training sessions shortened, safety briefings compressed, and communication barriers ignored. See, Costa ships are staffed by crew from over 60 nationalities. Beautiful diversity, but also a challenge. When commands are shouted in 3 languages during an emergency, seconds are lost. And at sea, seconds decide everything. Passengers expect la dolce vita. They imagine candlelight dinners and Italian romance. But what they often get is overcrowded buffets, long embarkation lines, and crew who are too exhausted to smile. I remember visiting one Costa ship during a joint port inspection. The air was thick with frustration. Officers muttered about poor scheduling. Engineers complained of delayed spare parts. It wasn't chaos, but it was close. Costa ships are visually stunning. There's no denying that. Golden chandeliers, marble floors, grand staircases. But beneath the polish, the rhythm feels off, like a waltz danced to the wrong tempo. Line to audience: if you ever sail Costa, enjoy the view, but keep your life jacket knowledge fresh. Because as one veteran engineer once told me, passengers expect romance, but too often they get chaos.
Carnival Cruise Line. You can hear a Carnival ship before you see it. They call them the fun ships. Water slides, neon lights, pool tardies, loud music, 24-hour pizza, and for many, it really is fun. But behind that fun lies what many in the industry quietly call Walmart of the seas. Now, don't get me wrong, Carnival has given millions of people their first taste of cruising. They've made the ocean accessible. But accessibility often comes with sacrifice. Let's talk numbers. The CDC's Vessel Sanitation Program, the government body that inspects cruise ships, has rated multiple Carnival ships in the low 90s. Some even hovered dangerously close to failing. That might sound like a small detail until you realize that a perfect ship scores 100. And passengers have noticed. Online reviews mention dirty cabins, slow service, food safety complaints, even occasional glass fragments in meals. Those aren't one-off stories. They're patterns. Crew members describe relentless schedules and constant upsell pressure. Push the drink packages, sell the spa deals, sell the photos, because profit matters more than peace. I once sat in a briefing where a supervisor said, "Every guest is a $sign until they disembark." That's not hospitality, that's survival. And crowd control? Picture 5,000 people, half of them drinking, few paying attention to rules. Security teams do their best, but even they admit, once the lights go down, it's chaos in slow motion. But, and I say this fairly, Carnival has improved their onboard entertainment drastically. Broadway-level shows, comedy acts, themed parties, they know how to keep energy high. They've also begun modernizing ships, improving technology, and tightening sanitation protocols. Still, when you mix low prices, high capacity, and minimal crew ratios, cracks start to show. A smile can hide exhaustion, but not for long. Carnival isn't the villain of cruising, but it's a reminder that cheap fun sometimes comes with hidden costs. And when you're at sea, you can't exchange the experience for a refund. They call it the fun ship, but for the crew, sometimes it's anything but. MSC Cruises. MSC, Mediterranean Shipping Company, the European giant trying to conquer the American market. Their ships are undeniably beautiful. Crystal staircases, sweeping glassed atriums, LED ceilings that mimic starlight. It's like sailing through a luxury mall. But behind that elegance lies one word every experienced captain fears: inconsistency. MSC's rise has been meteoric, building ships faster than any other cruise line in history. That kind of speed impresses investors, but terrifies captains. Because when growth outpaces training, the cracks aren't just cosmetic, they're structural. I've spoken with bridge officers who confessed that during expansion years, positions were filled before candidates were ready. New officers promoted without full certifications. Crew brought in from dozens of countries with minimal orientation and told to learn on the job. And when you're commanding a vessel that holds 6,000 passengers, learn on the job is not a phrase you ever want to hear. Disorganized boarding is a recurring complaint. Passengers wait hours in ports with minimal communication, luggage misplaced, staff confused. Once on board, food quality swings wildly from excellent to barely edible. It's not that MSC doesn't care, it's that they're trying to scale faster than they can stabilize. Their customer service system feels like a ship within a storm, no clear direction. Emails unanswered, complaints shuffled between departments that barely talk to each other. Even crew admit morale is mixed. One told me, too many passengers, not enough training. We're constantly firefighting. Not literally, but mentally. On the surface, MSC looks like a premium line with European flair. But in reality, it's a patchwork fleet. Some ships operated flawlessly, others feeling like trial runs. They market themselves as affordable luxury, but often deliver luxury confusion. That's dangerous, because confidence at sea is built on predictability, and inconsistency kills predictability. Still, there's potential. MSC's environmental innovations like advanced waste-to-energy systems and LNG propulsion are steps in the right direction. If they slowed down expansion and focused on stability, they could truly rival Royal Caribbean or Norwegian. But as of now, too many promises, not enough preparation. The sea doesn't reward ambition, it rewards readiness. And that's where MSC still has a lot to learn. Every ship has its story. Some fight storms with grace, others sink under the weight of their own ambition. Margaritaville, Costa, Carnival, MSC, they all remind us that cruising isn't just about glittering decks or midnight buffets. It's about leadership, discipline, and respect for the ocean, because the ocean never forgives mistakes. But don't lose hope. Not every line fails. Some cruise lines have learned, evolved, and earned the trust of captains and crew alike. And in the next segment, I'll show you the ones that rise above the noise, the ships where I would confidently bring my own family aboard. Because at sea, trust is the truest luxury.
The mid-tier cruise lines, rank 6 to 4. You know, not every cruise line is a disaster, and not everyone is perfect either. Some sit right in the middle, comfortable, reliable, but not without their cracks. These are the mid-tier cruise lines, the ones that try to balance luxury and affordability, but sometimes end up caught between both worlds. Let's start with number 6, a name that's been sailing the seas for decades. Princess Cruises. When people hear Princess Cruises, they think elegance, tradition, the kind of cruise your parents or grandparents might have taken and loved. And they're not wrong. Princess built its name on romance and refinement, elegant dining rooms, peaceful decks, and that signature theme from the Love Boat. For years, they represented the ideal classic cruise. But as someone who's watched this industry change, I can tell you Princess is caught in a tricky place. Their ships, though beautiful, are aging faster than their upgrades. The atmosphere is calm, yes, but sometimes too calm. In an era when guests expect immersive entertainment, tech innovations, and Instagram-worthy experiences, Princess feels slow to evolve. I remember captaining alongside a Princess vessel once. We shared a port in Alaska. My crew laughed when we saw passengers reading paperback novels by the pool, while neighboring ships had water parks, laser tag, and outdoor cinemas. But you know what? Those passengers looked genuinely happy. That's the paradox of Princess. It's a cruise line for people who don't want chaos, for those who cruise to escape, not to be entertained. One of their officers once told me, "We don't compete on flash, we compete on peace." Still, there's no denying the challenges. Dining experiences have become hit or miss. Inconsistent food temperatures, delayed service, and menus that haven't evolved much in years. Entertainment feels dated too. Elegant productions, yes, but lacking the energy you'll find on, say, Royal Caribbean or Norwegian. Their loyal passengers, though, don't seem to mind. They value routine, relaxation, and real connection with the sea. I've met couples who've sailed Princess more than 20 times, and they'll tell you, we don't want roller coasters or nightclubs, we want quiet sunsets and good service. And that's where Princess still shines, in personal attention and serenity. But to the younger generation of cruisers, or anyone looking for tech-forward ships, Princess can feel like a museum that still smells like class, just slightly stuck in time. Crew feedback? Overwhelmingly positive. Many describe it as well-managed but slow to innovate. There's structure, respect, and consistency on board, values that matter deeply at sea. So, if you're looking for calm waters and a slower pace, Princess is your safe harbor. But if you want your vacation to wow you, you might find yourself craving more. Holland America Line. Now let's talk about a cruise line that's older than most of its passengers, and I mean that in the best way possible. Holland America Line, a name steeped in maritime tradition, founded in the 1800s, back when crossing the Atlantic was less vacation, more voyage. Sailing with Holland America feels like stepping into an era where the sea was sacred. You'll find dark wood interiors, classical music, and art collections that could belong in a museum. But here's the truth. Holland America has always known who it's for. Their guests are refined, patient, and often retired. Travelers who prefer a glass of Merlot over a margarita. Their ships are immaculate, service impeccable, and the food? Some of the best I've ever tasted at sea. Their partnership with world-class chefs makes dining an event in itself. One evening, I had dinner aboard the New Statendam, a magnificent ship. As the sun set over the Caribbean, I realized there wasn't a single loud voice around me. No party decks, no blasting DJ, just quiet conversation, clinking glasses, and the sound of the ocean brushing against steel. That's Holland America. It's not a vacation, it's a retreat. But every retreat comes with trade-offs. If you're under 50, you might feel out of place. Entertainment options are limited. No go-karts, no surf simulators, no buzzing nightlife. As one guest put it, if you love peace, it's paradise. If you crave energy, it's a ghost ship. Their shore excursions are world-class, educational, deeply cultural, and thoughtfully planned. You'll learn more about a destination's history with Holland America than you ever will on a party cruise. But if you're seeking adventure or adrenaline, you'll have to make your own. Crew feedback paints a picture of calm professionalism. Most describe it as old school but respectful. Holland America treats its crew well, something that shows in their smiles and service consistency. However, the brand struggles to attract new generations. Its marketing still targets the loyal older crowd, and while that's admirable, it risks fading relevance. In short, Holland America is elegance without ego. It's for those who love the sea itself, not the spectacle. So if your idea of a perfect evening is a fine dinner, quiet jazz, and a starlit deck with nothing but the hum of the engines beneath you, this might just be your heaven. But if you're looking for thrill rides, fireworks, and endless selfies, you'll probably fall asleep before dessert. Celebrity cruises. Now we're stepping into modern waters, a cruise line that redefined what premium really means. Celebrity cruises. If other lines are hotels at sea, Celebrity is a boutique resort, sleek, sophisticated, and obsessed with aesthetics. When you walk onto a Celebrity ship, the difference is instant. Polished marble floors, futuristic architecture, and soft lighting that feels more like a luxury spa than a cruise terminal. As a captain, I can tell you, Celebrity is meticulously engineered. Every detail, from the silent hum of the engines to the scent in the hallways, is intentional. And their crew? Some of the happiest I've met. One officer told me, "Working here feels like being part of a 5-star hotel that actually floats." Celebrity's Edge-class ships, Edge, Apex, Beyond, and Ascent, completely changed the game. The magic carpet, a floating platform that glides up and down the side of the ship, isn't just a gimmick.
It's a symbol of their innovation. Their infinite veranda staterooms merge indoors with the sea breeze at the touch of a button. They focused heavily on sustainability, reducing emissions and improving energy efficiency. And in an age when many cruise lines still use outdated tech, Celebrity has leaned into clean energy, smart design, and quiet luxury. But even perfection has a price. Literally. Celebrity cruises have significantly become more expensive in recent years. The value for money balance has tilted. While guests still rave about the food, the ambiance, and the crew professionalism, some now question whether the premium label justifies the rising fares. And there's something else. While the ships are stunning, some longtime cruisers feel Celebrity is drifting away from its human touch in favor of high-end branding. It's become, as one reviewer put it, the fashion brand of cruising. Modern, stylish, but increasingly out of reach. Still, among the mid-tier lines, Celebrity stands tallest. It's the perfect blend of modern luxury and maritime heritage. You don't party here. You don't shout over crowds. You simply exist in comfort, surrounded by beauty. From a captain's perspective, Celebrity is what cruising should feel like when everything actually works. Smooth operations, happy crew, balanced leadership. And when you stand on the bridge during sunset, calm seas, golden reflections across the bow, you realize something. Celebrity isn't trying to compete with Royal Caribbean or Norwegian. It's quietly creating its own league and doing it with class. So, that's your mid-tier category. Princess, Holland America, and Celebrity. Each one tells a story about what cruising used to be and what it's becoming. Princess offers the comfort of tradition. Holland America guards the soul of the sea. And Celebrity? It's the bridge between classic cruising and the future. 3 very different ships, 3 very different identities, yet all sailing under one truth. No matter how advanced the technology, how fancy the dining, or how glamorous the entertainment, what truly defines a cruise line isn't its ship, it's its spirit. And in this mid-tier zone, spirit still matters more than spectacle. Now, we've ranked the worst, we've crossed the middle waters. Next, it's time to rise to the top, where luxury reigns supreme, and where a cruise becomes something far more than just a vacation. Because the top 3, they don't just sail the seas, they redefine them.
The best cruise lines. Rank 3 to 1. You know, after 25 years at sea, you learn something that no brochure will ever tell you. A cruise ship isn't just a machine, it's a soul. Some ships sail for profit, some sail for show, but a few rare ones sail for purpose. These are the lines that get it right, the ones that make the ocean feel like home. Let's talk about them. The best of the best. Disney Cruise Line. There's a kind of magic that no ship can copy, no matter how big, no matter how advanced. That magic belongs to one name: Disney. The first time I walked onto a Disney ship, I wasn't even captaining. I was visiting a colleague. The moment I stepped into the atrium, I felt something different. Not the luxury of marble floors or chandeliers, though there were plenty of those, but the energy. The smiles didn't feel rehearsed. The crew didn't just serve, they performed, like they were part of something bigger. Disney Cruise Line is where childhood wonder meets maritime discipline. And believe me, that's a rare combination. From a captain's eyes, their precision is remarkable. Every show, every parade, every interaction is timed to perfection. They train their crew not just to follow rules, but to understand emotion. I once asked a Disney officer, "How do you keep your crew this motivated?" He smiled and said, "We don't remind them they're crew. We remind them they're part of the story." And that's exactly how it feels on board. Even their crew-to-guest ratio is among the best in the world, meaning you're never just a cabin number. You're part of the show, part of the magic.
The level of training these crew members go through rivals that of airline pilots and five-star hotel staff combined. Every motion, every greeting, even how they handled children's questions, it's all rehearsed, but somehow feels real every single time. Of course, all that magic comes with a price tag. Disney cruises are expensive, sometimes double what you'd pay elsewhere. But here's the truth. You're not paying for a room. You're paying for a feeling, the kind you can't find on any other ship. And then there's that moment. Every evening, as the sun dips below the horizon and the sky turns orange and gold, the ship's horn plays a tune every captain knows by heart, for When You Wish Upon a Star. Even after all these years at sea, that sound still gives me goosebumps. Because Disney doesn't just move ships, they move hearts. They're not the biggest, or the cheapest, or the flashiest. But in a world of overpromises and shortcuts, Disney Cruise Line still believes in something pure: joy, wonder, and excellence. If you ever sail with them, don't just watch the show. Watch the faces of the crew. That's where the real magic lives. Norwegian Cruise Line. If Disney is built on magic, the Norwegian Cruise Line is built on freedom. There was a time when Norwegians struggled. Ships looked tired, crew turnover was high, they were trying to compete with giants and losing. But over the last few years, they've done something extraordinary. They reinvented themselves. The Prima-class ships like Norwegian Prima and Norwegian Viva changed everything. These ships brought style back into the conversation. Wide open decks, stunning infinity pools, glass bridges that let you walk right over the sea, all built with one idea in mind: freedom to cruise your way. As a captain, I've always admired that philosophy. No fixed dinner times, no dress codes, no rigid routines, just freedom. And for the crew, that freedom extends too, because Norwegian realized something most corporations forget. Happy crew means happy guests. I remember docking beside the Norwegian Encore in Miami. After a long week at sea, their crew still came down the gangway laughing, joking, hugging each other. That's not normal after a 7-day voyage. Trust me. So I asked one of their officers what changed. He said, "We stopped investing in just ships. We started investing in people." That stuck with me, because Norwegian's biggest comeback didn't happen in the shipyards. It happened inside the hearts of their crew. They've built a bridge culture, literally and figuratively, that treats crew like family. On many ships, the captain eats with the staff. Engineers chat with waiters. Officers remember birthdays. That's rare. At sea, a hierarchy is usually everything. But on Norwegian, it feels more human. Their new designs, sleek, Scandinavian-inspired interiors, open-air promenades like Ocean Boulevard, and world-class dining partnerships have transformed the passenger experience too. But it's not just about aesthetics. It's about innovation that respects tradition. They've managed to blend the casual joy of cruising with a modern sense of sophistication. You can dine barefoot by the pool or enjoy fine cuisine under chandeliers. Your choice. And then there's entertainment. From Summer, the Donna Summer musical, to Noise Boys, Norwegian has pushed live theater at sea into new territory. They took risks, and they paid off. For many travelers who once wrote them off, Norwegian has become a second chance, a brand reborn. Their ships might not be the largest, their prices aren't the cheapest, but in terms of atmosphere, real human connection mixed with freedom, Norwegian has found its identity again. So when people ask me why I rank NCL so high, I tell them this. Because when a cruise line treats both its crew and passengers like family, you can feel it in the air. And that's worth more than any water slide. Royal Caribbean International. And finally, the #1 spot. The name that has changed cruising forever. Royal Caribbean International.
If the ocean had a heartbeat, it would sound like this fleet. They don't just build ships, they build floating cities. Yet somehow, they still feel personal. Royal Caribbean has mastered a balance that most companies only dream of: scale and soul. I've captained alongside them for years. I've watched their engineering teams test technology that no one else dared to try. And I can say this without hesitation: Royal Caribbean sets the standard for modern cruising. Their entertainment? Unmatched. Broadway caliber shows, high-diving aquatheaters, robotic bartenders. They turn imagination into reality. Their safety protocols, among the strictest in the industry. Every officer, every department, every system runs like clockwork. And the crew? Oh, the crew. They are proud to wear that anchor logo on their uniform. I've spoken to their officers, engineers, and chefs, and every one of them shares the same pride. We're not just crew, we're royal. The company's culture is built on respect, innovation, and trust. You can feel it when you walk into their bridge: the professionalism, the quiet confidence, the way they operate like one living organism. And then there's their crown jewel, Icon of the Seas, the largest, most advanced cruise ship ever built. But it's not just about size, it's about vision. Icon isn't a ship, it's a blueprint for the future. A self-sustaining city at sea, powered by cleaner fuel, smart waste systems, and an energy design that reduces emissions without reducing luxury. I once said, when you can run a ship like a city and still make it feel like home, you've mastered the ocean. And Royal Caribbean has done exactly that. Every detail, from the Central Park filled with real trees to the glass aquadome towering over the bow, has a purpose: to make the ocean accessible, not intimidating. They've made cruising exciting again for families, couples, and adventure seekers. And unlike some competitors, they haven't forgotten the basics: good service, great food, and genuine hospitality. When I step onto a Royal Caribbean ship, I feel that spark of curiosity that first made me fall in love with the sea. It's the same feeling passengers get when they walk into a massive atrium and see a robot bartender wave back. Royal Caribbean doesn't follow trends, they create them. From the Freedom class to the Oasis class and now the Icon class, every ship is a leap forward, not just a repeat. And behind that innovation lies a truth every captain respects: they never compromise safety. I've seen their drills firsthand: efficient, serious, and methodical. Every crew member knows their role. That's why when something goes wrong, and trust me, at sea it sometimes does, they handle it with precision and grace. That's leadership. And that's why Royal Caribbean stands where it does, at the top. Because while others chase trends, Royal builds legacies. So, there you have it. From the chaos of the cheap lines, to the calm elegance of the classics, to the brilliance of the best, each cruise line tells a story. Each one carries a different heartbeat across the sea.
Disney reminds us that magic still matters. Norwegian Cruise proves that people are the true engines of a ship. And Royal Caribbean, they show that innovation and humanity can sail side by side. As a captain, I've learned that it's not the size of the ship that defines greatness. It's the spirit of the people aboard. And when that spirit meets the sea, that's when true cruising begins. How I ranked them. Captain's criteria. When I made this list, I didn't look at fancy suites or how big the water slides were. I looked at character. How safe are these ships, really? Because behind every glittering deck lies a record of overboard incidents, fires, and how fast the crew responds when everything goes wrong. Then comes crew treatment. I've seen deckhands spend months away from family, working under pressure most passengers could never imagine. So yes, how a cruise line pays and protects its people matters. Passenger satisfaction isn't just about good food or entertainment. It's about how people are treated when something goes wrong. Lost luggage, missed ports, mechanical delays. These moments reveal a company's true face. I also looked at fleet modernization. How many ships are under 10 years old? Because an aging fleet often means higher emissions, lower safety standards, and more maintenance headaches. And finally, transparency. Hidden fees, tricky port policies, or inflated service charges, those things say a lot about respect. This list isn't about luxury. It's about integrity. It's about how a cruise line treats its guests and its crew when no one is watching. The hidden realities passengers don't see. Most passengers see the grand atriums, the Broadway shows, the endless buffets. But deep below deck, there's another world. While you're sipping cocktails at sunset, someone's scrubbing the galley floors, 12 decks below, in heat and noise that never stop. When you're dining at 8 p.m., a laundry worker might be starting their 14th hour sorting sheets from hundreds of cabins. The hierarchy is strict. The rules tighter than you'd imagine. The engine room never sleeps. And yet, most of these men and women smile through exhaustion because every voyage means another paycheck for their family thousands of miles away. The contrast is haunting. Above deck, it's paradise. Below deck, it's endurance. This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. Every great voyage runs on invisible strength, the quiet resilience of those you'll never see. And that's something every true sailor and every compassionate traveler should remember. The future of cruising 2025 and beyond. But the tides are changing. The next generation of cruise ships, like Explora Journeys and the Ritz-Carlton Yacht Collection, are redefining what it means to sail with conscience. LNG-powered engines, zero-waste kitchens, AI systems monitoring emissions in real time. This is the new era. Sustainability isn't just a buzzword anymore. It's a responsibility. And the cruise lines that embrace it will lead the oceans of tomorrow. Because the future doesn't belong to the biggest ships. It belongs to those who treat the sea and their people with respect. Bonus segment. Cruise lines I'd love to see make a comeback. There are names that still echo in every captain's heart. Cunard, P&O, Pullmantur. Once legendary, now faded. Some of those ships deserved better endings. They carried not just passengers, but dreams. And maybe one day those dreams will sail again. Because on the sea, nothing ever truly disappears. It just waits for the right wind to rise again. I've commanded ships through calm seas and raging storms. I've seen corporate greed, mechanical failure, and moments of pure human kindness. But after all these years, I've learned something simple. A cruise line isn't defined by its size. It's defined by its soul. So next time you book a voyage, don't just ask where you're going. Ask who you're sailing with. And if you love honest insights from the bridge, subscribe. Because I've got more stories the corporate brochures will never tell.